Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naitki. So we'll be reading the Sanskrit text, 4th canto, 20th chapter. Text is 22. So this chapter is Prithu Maharaj after doing the yajna, and Lord Vishnu is appearing. So on the sacrificial arena, let's read the text. Athavam rajaya shru kala vilochanayam atra patadrag gocharam aha purusham Padasprantam Krishtim Amsha Unnate Vinyashtaha Hastagaraham Uranga Vidvishaha. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus, the king offered the following prayers. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The significant point in this verse is that Lord was standing above the ground, almost touching it. The resident of the upper planetary system, beginning from Brahmaloka, the planet where Lord Brahma lives, down to Swargaloka, the planet of Indra, are so advanced in its spiritual life that when they come to visit this or similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary system within this universe, he sometimes plays as if he's one of the demigods of this universe. When he first appeared before Prithu Maharaj, he was not touching the ground of this earth, but when he was fully satisfied with the behavior of the character of Maharaj Prithu, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan from Vaikuntha. Out of affection for Prithu Maharaj, he touched the earth, but he raised the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda. He rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on earthly planet. These are all symptoms of his great affection for Prithu Maharaj. Perceiving this, his fortunate position, Prithu Maharaj could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still, in a flattering wise, he begins to offer the prayers. I'll read the text 23 as well, because the discussion will be more fruitful. Prithu vacha varan vibho twadvardha vashadhuda katham vrinite guna vikriyatmanam ye narakanam api santi dehinam tan ishi kevalya patevrana nachaha. Translation: My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigod who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for the living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically, even in the life of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish for such benedictions. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are three kinds of benedictions. There are different kinds of benedictions according to a person's demand. For karmis, the best benediction is promotion to the higher planetary system, whereas the duration of the life is very long and the standard of living and happiness is very high. There are others, namely Gyanis and Yogis, who want the benedictions of merging into the existence of Lord. This is called as Kaivalya. The Lord is therefore addressed as Kaivalyapati, the master or the Lord of the benediction known as Kaivalya. But devotees receive a different type of benedictions from the Lord. Devotees are anxious neither for heavenly planet nor for merging into the existence of Lord. According to devotees, Kaivalya or merging into the existence of Lord is considered as good as hell. The word Narak means hell. Similarly, everyone who exists in this material world is called Narak because this material existence itself is known as the hellish condition of life. Prithu Maharaj, however, expressed that he was interested neither in the benediction desired by the karmis nor that desired by jnanis or yogis. Srila Prabhu. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Prabhu, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, described that Kaivalya is no better than the hellish condition of life. And as for the delights of the heavenly planets, they are factually will o' the wisp or phantasmagoria. They are not wanted by devotees. Devotees do not even care for the position held by the Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, nor does a devotee desire to become equal with Lord Vishnu. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj made his proposition very clear. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुत्पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगुणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सावधूतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगुणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So the context here is that Lord Vishnu appeared on the sacrificial arena of Prithu Maharaj Yagya, which was spoiled by Indra. Lord Vishnu appeared with Indra so that Indra can ask apologies to Prithu Maharaj. And that has already happened. Indra asked for forgiveness, and Prithu Maharaj, very compassionately, being a nice devotee, accepted his apologies and hugged Indra. And Indra was, feeling very guilty about his conduct. Krishna, who has appeared here as Lord Vishnu, actually has fulfilled the purpose for what he came for. And that was to make the yajna successful, the sacrifice successful, and ask Indra so that he can ask for the forgiveness. And Lord is leaving back. That's what we had talked about yesterday and day before, that Vishnu was about to leave back. So his purpose of coming was actually fulfilled on the external front, not on the internal front. And that's the reason that these two texts are being talked about here. The text 22 specifically talks about the loving exchange between the devotee and Lord. So Supreme Personality of Godhead, he stood there in front of Prithu Maharaj. He was about to leave, but he did not leave. And the purport is talking about, and even the translation, that Godhead, the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead, stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground. So earlier, he was not touching the ground; he was above the ground, as the the jivas or personalities from the higher planetary system normally do. They keep their weightlessness, and Vishnu was presenting himself as a demigod and was behaving as a demigod and brought Indra. So he was not touching the ground, but when Prithu Maharaj was serving him, doing, and became very ecstatic, at that time, Krishna started the loving exchange. And then it's mentioned here that he came little lower, touched the ground, but he was, keeping the hand still on Garuda to prevent himself from falling down. Although it's not that he's not accustomed, but he was depicting that to Prithu Maharaj out of loving exchange, that there is a reciprocation, there is an exchange, there is an action happening. And then Prithu Maharaj offered the prayers. And the prayers that Prithu Maharaj offered are very beautiful. Prithu Maharaj is saying that Krishna or Vishnu is capable of giving any benedictions, and benedictions offer which can be uh, which can be given by demigods also. So they are meant for entities who are bewildered by the modes of material nature. So entities bewildered by mode of material nature means the, where the sense gratification is prevailing, and under the mode of material nature, people are acting one way or the other to give pleasure to their senses. And he's further saying that, one who is associated with you automatically gets the benediction of going back to merging into you. So I'm not even asking for that. So there's no point of going to the effulgence of Lord, which Gyanis and Yogis want. And what they do there, they don't do anything. They get bored. And benedictions for getting free or getting the sense gratification fulfilled is, anyway not devotional service. The activity is not what defines anything to be a devotional service. A devotional service is a combination of an act and little more than that act. And that more, what we talk about than act, is the consciousness, is the emotions which are associated with that. So that's what we talk about. There should be bhav when one is doing the devotional service. The love should be there. Otherwise, devotional service is considered as a practicing process where the one is elevating from the process or the phase where the person is not at all detached to, not attached to Lord, and then slowly and gradually one gets associated. So if we talk about the 9 processes of the Bhakti Yoga, starts from Shraddha, faith, which is, one has to first have the faith. Next is the Sadhu Sangha, that is association with the devotees. Bhajana Kriya, that is chanting and glorifying the names of the Lord, which leads to anarth nivritti, that means the decreasing of the unwanted attachment. Then comes the steadiness, and after the steadiness, a little interest or ruchi develops, the taste comes. After that is the attachment, that is asakti. Attachment means that yes, one hankers to do something, and after one hankers is that when the love develops, and after the love is the pure love for Krishna, which is the prema. So all these factors are very essential for anyone when a devotional act is being performed. That is what is the loving exchange between the two entities. It's not just at the level of body. It's the exchange which happens between the soul and super soul or Krishna. And that is what is happening here. Krishna or Vishnu just standing in front of Prithu Maharaj is not what is the reciprocation of Lord for the devotee. If we ask a teenager to bow down to someone and touch the feet and offer the obeisances, they may do it, but probably they may have a different expression on the face, and people who are there may laugh or may see that okay, he's touching the feet, but we can clearly see that the emotions are not put in that offering of the obeisances to whosoever the person is offering the obeisances. Whereas if we ask a very small child who is maybe 3 years or 4 years to touch somebody's feet, even then also there might not be the faith, but there is a difference between the act which is done by the 4-year-old child and an 18-year-old child. And then somebody who is very dedicated and surrendered to the devotees and spiritual master may also offer the obeisances, and we can see the affection and the feelings behind offering the obeisances. So externally the act is same, but offering the obeisances is not the devotional service, just as a matter of fact doing as an action. The devotional service is when it is done with faith, when it is have emotions, when you have our consciousness totally focused on, when physically when one is offering the obeisances, internally also one is going down and accepting that yes, you are superior than me. When we consider anybody superior, it means we follow their instructions. We take what their orders are. That is what is accepting somebody superior is. Otherwise, there's no point. If I say, okay, you are very intelligent and what you say is extremely right, but I will not follow whatever you are saying, that means I'm not following what I'm speaking. In a way, I consider that what you are saying is right and what I'm doing is wrong, but still I'm doing what I am doing. That means I'm not accepting your superiority, right? So superiority, when we accept for someone's, then we are bound to follow, not because of force, but because of the understanding. And that is what is needed in the devotional service. In the devotional service, when one has to accept somebody as superior, it has to come with the understanding. Prithu Maharaj has that. He knows that a living entity actually is under the influence of the modes of the material nature. Being under the influence of the material nature, we have various, you know, desires. And as it is said that this world is dukhalya ashashvatam, a place of miseries forever, we are trying to reduce our miseries. And so-called happiness in this world is actually reduction in the pain. I was hearing one lecture in which um, I heard that, if there are various situations, and in each situation we are trying to reduce the pain, and that is what we associate with happiness. So if somebody is hungry, that is a situation. Hunger is at the level of body, it's not the level of soul. A body is hungry on fasting, also on ekadashis, on janmashtamis, or on any other day. But at that time there's no pain, there's no trouble in the body being hungry. So being hungry is not devotional service, that's not austerity. The real austerity is not associating with that hunger. So if somebody is hungry and trying to find something for eating, then that is satisfying the hunger. And when the hunger is satisfied, one is happy. So actually, the pain is now being reduced. The pain of hunger has gone. So that is happiness. Another example could be that people go to hospitals. Why? Because they are sick. When they are sick, they go to the hospital. They get treated. So the pain reduces and they come out happily. A person who is not under a medical situation will never ever go to the hospital for enjoyment. If happiness is coming out of the hospital, why don't all healthy people book a room in the hospital, go and spend there, a week or so with the family, and then come out? Oh, we are now happy. Because happiness is not in the hospital. It's the reduction of the pain which gives happiness. That is why hospital is a nice place to go and come back for the people who are suffering from some disease or medical condition. People who are not suffering from medical condition, they don't go to the hospital because their pain cannot be reduced in the hospital. Their pain can be reduced somewhere else. People go out to malls, people go out to cinemas, casinos, and whatnot. The idea is to reduce the pain. And reducing the pain is what we call as happiness. And that exchange is on the level of body. Where is the soul involved? And since there is no involvement of the soul, there is no devotional service. The devotional service actually comes into play when there is an exchange. When we go to the temple, there is an exchange between the deities and the devotee. Many people come to the temple and see the deities as material. They are stone deities. And even some people comment that, why people are going to temple and spending so much of money to decorate the stone idols and, decorate the temple. Instead, that money can be used for feeding poor people, or giving it in charity. Yes, that is true, that can be done, but then that understanding is based on the fact that the deities are not deities. That's not the supreme personality of Godhead. That is a piece of stone. But then there are people who see the same piece of stone as the deities. They dress the deities, they offer the bhoga, they take care of the deities, they bathe them, they do the abhishekam, and everything is like they are the real personalities. Now, what is the difference between the act of two persons? The physical action is both the same for a person who is a devotee and who is not a devotee. The difference is the exchange. That exchange happens at the level of consciousness, at the level of emotion, where the soul is involved. The person is doing the service with love, with affection, with faith, you know, with the nishtha. That is what is the devotional service. So Prithu Maharaj is talking about that condition here, that all the activities which are done for by the Gyanis or by the yogis, they are not devotional service. Gyanis and yogis, they go into the effulgence of Lord. What do you do there? Nothing. You may have a very nice arrangement, but there's nobody around. You cannot celebrate. Arjun had that problem. He did not kill his fellow cousins because he said that if I'm going to kill everyone with whom I'm going to enjoy the kingdom. So his happiness was not in the kingdom because it was bereft of enjoyment with his fellow cousins. And that life is described here in by Prithu Maharaj as Nark, which is hell. So that is not what the devotees hanker for. And devotees also don't hanker what the karmis want. That is the benedictions. You know, uh, give me this, give me that. I want money, I want nice family, I want nice wife, I want children. All those things are not something what we are hankering for. The devotees actually don't hanker for. And they are saying, and Prithu Maharaj is saying that that is even available to the people who are in the hellish planet. So what to talk about us? Everybody in this world who is born is being made an arrangement of stay and food and shelter. Right? We talk about roti, kapda, and makan. Right. So three things essentially we need is the food, the clothing, and the shelter. That is available to everyone. Uh, our acharyas give the example that a devotee should make the endeavor for eating the food like the python does. Now, python does much labor for getting the food, and he's actually waiting for the prey to come to him, and then the python will attack the prey and eat. The effort is very minimum. That is what a devotee should hanker for. Not that the devotees become lazy, but the time which is spent in meeting the physical needs should be very minimal, and most of the time should be utilized in the service of Lord. So that is what has been suggested for the devotees. But if we see the other way around, even without making much effort, a lazy python gets the food. So the arrangement for the food for even the python or the lazy person like python or lazy entity like python is also arranged for by Krishna. What to talk about people who are spending time working in corporate offices and getting decent salaries. So that is not what is devotional service. That is also available to the individuals who are not making any effort. Even a hog eats whatever is available and enjoys. So that's not the point. That is the material life. And if we are trying to get benedictions, which can be provided by demigods, and those are what the people who are bewildered by the modes of material nature are asking, then those are actually reducing the pain. That's it. They're not giving the happiness. The happiness or so-called happiness is very short-term, and it ends as soon as the subsider of the pain is over. It's just like when we have pain in our body, we take a painkiller, and the effect of the painkiller goes, the pain comes back. If there's a fracture in the body, it has to be treated by getting the bone actually joined, not just by taking a painkiller. It will take time. We can just subside the pain, but the pain will come back as soon as the effect of the painkiller goes away. The real pain will go when the broken bone will be fixed. Unless that happens, the pain will not go. So that is what is the benedictions are doing. They are just like the painkillers. They come and they give some reduction in the pain, which is interpreted. And by that, their whole objective is to know the Lord. And then after knowing the Lord, they are done. Okay, now I know what Krishna is. Then what to do further, they don't know. That yes, the exchange has to happen. The loving exchange has to happen. The activities are to be done for Krishna. For doing something for Krishna means when the heart and soul is involved in that. It's just like, a lot of parents, they earn money. Hare Krishna. Oh, okay, sure, Mataji. So are you able to hear me better now? Okay, sure. So there are people who spend their life earning money, and objective of earning money is that they are earning money for their children. Now, when they are earning money for their children, the whole objective of doing that endeavor is to make the life of their children better. So they accumulate money for their college studies, for their betterment, and that is what is the objective of life. Their heart and soul is involved in the labor, but the objective of doing that labor, the consciousness behind doing that activity, or the emotions which are attached with that activity, are all dedicated to their children. So that is what people say, that I work for my family, I work for my children. Now it's not that that money is not utilized for anything else. Yes, that is there, but the prime objective is to make the life successful or prosperous for their children. So if we do the activities for Krishna, that means the heart and soul should be focused on what we need to do for Krishna. That is what it becomes, the devotional service. The activity on the external platform remains the same. It's only the exchange. Till the time that loving exchange doesn't happen, there's no point of doing the devotional service. So Prithu Maharaj is at that situation right now. The sacrificial yajna has been performed. The objective of Vishnu coming in is fulfilled. Indra has asked for forgiveness. Prithu Maharaj accepted, his request, and they both embraced each other. Indra is already feeling guilty and he's realized his mistake. Vishnu has made the yajna successful, has given the benedictions to Prithu Maharaj, but Prithu Maharaj was still not happy. He was just not happy seeing the Lord. And because he wanted to have a loving exchange, Vishnu decided to stay longer. While he was leaving, he decided to spend a little more time there, and said that he lowered himself to touch the ground, though he was still touching the Garuda. And in ecstasy, Prithu Maharaj could not see the Lord completely because his eyes was full with tear, and in ecstasy he was like little frozen. When emotions are a little higher in ecstasy, the physical action doesn't happen, and it happens to a lot of people. Sometimes out of happiness or out of sorrow they're not able to speak. Sometimes what they want to speak, they want to speak, but the body doesn't cooperate to speak, or they want to do some certain gestures, but nothing comes out. Sometimes they are blank face. When we see somebody who we are expecting to see, and we are surprised to see, people don't know what to do. Sometimes they start crying. A lot of on the social media you can see these kind of videos, that especially for the American soldiers, they say that the soldier is coming back and they meet the family or the child in the school or wife in the office when they are surprising them and nobody knows they are coming back. And if you have ever happened to see those kind of videos, you will see that people are frozen. They are not able to do anything. It's not that they're not happy, but in ecstasy, in happiness, they are not able to, the body doesn't cooperate. Similar is the situation with Prithu Maharaj here. He is so happy and ecstatic by taking the darshan of the Lord that he's not able to even see him. He's just crying with the tears in his eyes. That was the last verse we were explaining about his situation. And then he, with the tears in his eyes, he's looking at the Lord, who is touching the ground and standing in front of him, but he's still not satisfied. Now, for the loving exchange to happen, it doesn't mean necessarily there has to be an action always to be done, right? The loving exchange sometimes is just being in front of each other and, you know, uh, cherishing the beauty of the Lord, looking at the Lord, and being in the presence of Lord is also very um, soothing effect. People go to temple and just sit in the front of the deities and they feel very peaceful because they experience the existence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. People go to their spiritual master and feel happy just by being in the presence of their spiritual master. They feel happy, or sometimes in being in the association of other people, we feel very enchanted. We forget, and what our miseries are and what we are doing. So that is what is the association means. Association doesn't means that physically being in presence or in contact, It actually means that emotionally also we get attached. Srila Prabhupada was giving an example of being in association, and then there happened to be a mosquito who was sitting on his leg. And Srila Prabhupada said that, is this mosquito in the association, is in my association? He said, no, this mosquito is biting me and is sucking blood. This mosquito is not in my association. Being in association means when you are emotionally attached, when you are accepting the exchange of what is happening between the two entities. So oftentimes people question that we are not supposed to associate with the non-devotees, and we are supposed to associate with devotees. So what does that mean? Should not we talk about with other people in office, or when we go out? Should not we do that? The answer is yes. Talking to someone doesn't mean associating with them. We can talk to people. Association happens when we emotionally get attached to the conversation and get into it. So that is what the association is. If we are just standing in a group of people and asking them, okay, how they are doing, and just uh, the normal, the code of conduct happens about their well-being, about our well-being, and wish them something, talk about a little bit, doesn't comes under the category of association. What comes under the category of association is when we forget what our real purpose is, and then we take their conversation and bring that conversation with us even when we are not with them. That is association. So association with spiritual elevated people means that when you are not even with them, then also you have their thoughts and their instructions with them. That is association. Somebody is going to hear a lecture, they hear the lecture, and after you come out, we don't execute any of the things which we have learned in that uh, lecture, is not association. That might be little pious activity or piety which can help in the long run to make arrangements for inclination for one accepting the path of devotional service, but that's directly not the association. It doesn't directly benefits to the spiritual progress. For that, one has to carry back whatever is being learned, whatever is being taken up. So that has to be taken up. Otherwise, that's not association. So association actually talks about taking the instructions with enthusiasm, with consciousness. So the whole process of the devotional service revolves around the consciousness which is there. That is why the whole movement which Srila Prabhupada started is Krishna consciousness. One has to be conscious of Krishna every time, every moment. And that is what is devotional service. And being conscious every time, every activity one, is able to do, is able to be dovetailed, as devotional service. Srila Prabhupada says that even the earning of a person can be dovetailed. Yes, certainly by the rightful means, not by inappropriate ways. By appropriate ways, when a person is even earning the money, that money when earned and is utilized for service of Krishna is devotional service. If it is done with faith, if it is done with continuously, and if it is done with love, that becomes devotional service. So devotional service is what is being the exchange between the devotee and the Lord. That is what Prithu Maharaj is doing here. He doesn't want any benedictions. He doesn't want any physical or material benefits or happiness or pleasure. He compares that everything to be not better than any hellish condition. What he is hankering for is the exchange which is happening between the Lord and the devotee. So that is what he is hankering for. So this is what is actually being talked about, in these two verses. I'll just summarize of the points which we have talked about. So the situation here is that there is a loving exchange, and because of that loving exchange, the Lord decided to stay a little more, in the presence of his devotees, wherein the objective was fulfilled. The yajna was made successful of Prithu Maharaj. Indra, who did something wrong, has asked for forgiveness, and Prithu Maharaj forgave him, and they both had clarified their things and were back good. And The yajna was successful. Krishna has given the benedictions to Lord to Prithu Maharaj, and then he's about to leave back, but then he decided to stay a little longer. The stay a little longer is actually to give more satisfaction to the devotee, as Prithu Maharaj. The loving exchange, has to happen emotionally and at the level of consciousness. Where Prithu Maharaj is looking at the Lord when he is trying to, touch the ground for him. So rather than acting as a demigod, he is acting as a supreme personality of Godhead. It's not that Krishna cannot balance himself on the earthly planet. He can, but he's depicting that as a part of the loving exchange, for his devotees. That yes, I was a little higher on the ground, and now I'm trying coming down, to express that yes, that's a gesture to the devotee, that yes, this is for you, my dear devotee. So please enjoy, this. And Prithu Maharaj in ecstasy is crying, the tears are coming out, and in that situation, he's looking at Lord, but he's not satisfied, and he makes the prayers, and the prayers which he makes is clearly talking about that I do not want any material benedictions, because those benedictions are for people who are being affected by modes of material nature. Such benedictions are automatically even fulfilled by the Lord, just because a person is born. The atheist, when they are born, they get whatever they need for their life, they live the whole life. So he says that that's not worth asking. Even in the hellish planet, those arrangements are already made by Lord. So what to ask about that? And he's very clear in his askings and level of body. So I'll just stop here and see if there are any questions or comments or any additions or corrections if anybody has. So please forgive me if I've misspoken or delivered anything with incorrectly because of my understanding, and I'll be more than happy to take it. Corrections. Thank you, everyone. Please let me know if there are any comments or corrections or questions. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for your encouraging words, and thank you for giving me this opportunity for my own learning and purification. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My obeisances. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about that, but Prabhuji, but we can take it as that as well. So here, Krishna is just referred as to the Vishnu form, not the Shirodakshai, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, or Karnodakshai Vishnu. And Vishnu is in his own abode, but then he's present in other planetary systems also. So I'm not sure very much about that, which Vishnu form is referred to here, but if anybody else has some understanding of that, I'll be more than happy if they want to, answer that. Thank you, Mataji, for the explanation. Hare Krishna, Mataji. So, Mataji, the purport says that, he touches the ground, although he was not touching it, but to satisfy, you know, um, with to Prithu Maharaj, he actually almost touched the ground. Yes, yeah, correct. That is what is mentioned in the translation by Srila Prabhupada, that Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground. So, yes, yes, yeah, correct. Yes, absolutely. Mhm. Correct. That is correct. Yes, Mataji, that is very right. So if we associate with someone or if we are interacting, let's not use the word associate for the moment. So if we are interacting with someone and the discussion is which is going in the negative direction, and then we are involved, we get carried into that negative discussion, and it depression, brings little kind of depression in ourselves, and it brings us little low in our thoughts. That means we are getting influenced by that discussion. That means we already took the association of that. That is why it is said that always, one should associate in like-minded people. Bird of the same feather flock together. So if we associate with the devotees, then their discussions will always be the same. That's what we would need while one is on the path of devotional service. There would not be something which is negative. That is the reason Srila Prabhupada said that one should not associate with the non-devotees. The reason being is the discussion which happens in the group of non-devotees might not be favorable, and because we do not have that good control on our consciousness or our emotions, that we can get involved only where we have to, because we get carried away by the situation, it's a little risky for us to go into that kind of situation. But when one practices the devotional service and is fixed where one is not drifted by the situation, at that point of time it is good to go and associate with those, so that we can bring them towards the path of. Yes, correct. Yes, that is correct, and that is why if we see in the Nectar of Instruction, it is said that how the association should be chosen. A person who is aspiring devotee or is following should always associate with the devotees who are more advanced. And a advanced devotee is not that one advanced devotee should not associate with who are aspiring, but then the conduct should be different. So the association of an advanced devotee can also be there with the devotee who is aspiring. Otherwise, how the aspiring devotee will get association? But the role is different. The aspiring devotee would be acting in a footstep of a student, wherein the advanced devotee would be acting in a footstep of a teacher. When we go to the school, it's not that teacher unlearns whatever the teacher is knowing, but teacher makes the student learn. So the same way is the conduct. The advanced devotee acts as a teacher. The aspiring devotee acts as a student. But if we see from the other view, the advanced devotee is still associating with someone who is less advanced, but the role is different. There, the person has to be, you know, in association to bring the thoughts and elevate the consciousness of the other person rather than to deteriorate him. And as you said that yes, when we are associating, sometimes it happens that people have different thoughts and we discuss with them and it creates negativity. And sometimes people even drift out of what their devotional service is. So that very much happens. That is why it is said that choose your association very, very, very carefully. Because that association will make what you would be. And if you see, even in the corporate world, there are now a lot of companies who will ask for your social profile to see with what kind of people you associate with, to know what kind of a person you are, because the association describes what you do, right? That's very true. In their background check, even in the immigrations now, they ask for your social profiles, and they go through to see with what kind of people you associate with what kind of activities you are socially doing, and what kind of activities you're involving in, to see what kind of person you are, rather than what you just write in one form. So that's the importance of association. Yeah, no, so Mataji, yes, truly. Yeah, association is very important, and association is actually plays a very, very key role in making the devotee a devotee. Yes, many people become devotees by reading Srila Prabhupada books, but not all. Most devotees who are on a path of devotion have on that path because they got that association. Because in the initial stages, the faith may be there, but if association is not there, the continuity doesn't come. And if continuity doesn't come, because we are conditioned, it's very easy for us to go back where we were rather than elevating. So association is very, very much needed, and the right association is very, very important. So yes, right association will elevate. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Mataji. That is true. That is right, Mataji. I will like to little bit quantify, the negativity here. Sometimes there might be instructions from our seniors which will not be very palatable and not happy for us, and may seem as negative. In turn, they might be not negative. So when we define what is negative, it should be according to the Shastras, not according to us, because there might be something which is negative for us, but it might actually be helpful for our spiritual path. So that distinction probably we should make, when we define negativity. So that's the addition I wanted to do. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Any other question or comment anybody has? If not, then it's already 8:20. I think some people will need to leave for offices who are working. Thank you for your encouragement, Mataji, and thank you for patiently listening me. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity, and forgive me if I've misspoken anything. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpa tarabhascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Praise to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna Mataji.